All right, we should be good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and my screen popped up. Make sure you guys can see it. Just give me one more second. Oops, let me know if you guys can see the screen that I'm sharing here. Perfect, let's get it rocking. So just gonna take maybe 15 minutes or so, basically diving into one of the aspects of like creating your offer and the kind of like the reason behind like this type of like problems into solution strategy is because a lot of times like I see people in the coaching space, even like me and Mike did this for a long time. Like it's almost like we were selling the plane ticket and not the actual vacation, if that makes sense. So you're selling the how it's done rather than the desired outcome. And the reason that this is not the best way to go about sales is because a lot of times the how, especially when we're in the coaching space, is like kind of like quote unquote woo woo, you know, like it will throw people off as far as, you know, the overall like goal that the overall goal that they want to accomplish, the overall desired outcome. I wanted to dive into a little like kind of like 3-step strategy that is basically like identifying all of your problems and turning them into the solution. So it's helping you get more clear when it comes to that desired outcome, if that makes sense. So with that being said, as you can see the note that I put here, you know, for step number 1, you want to identify the dream outcome. So to identify your dream outcome, like I had mentioned, you know, you want to focus on thinking about the overall vacation, not the plane ticket, you know? So like a prime example is like, you know, a way that one of our coaches in here deals with helping people get like, you know, emotionally stable, physically stable, mentally stable is through like microdosing and like different types of psychedelics and stuff like that. And when I was talking to that person, you know, this was kind of like that conversation where it's like, understand that microdosing and like psychedelics are like very woo woo, you know? So if we lead with that on the front end, it's more than likely going to turn people off. But what's the actual like desired outcome? Like what do those things help people achieve? So that's kind of like this overall mindset behind like, what is the actual desired outcome, not the actual like how it's done, you know? So just a little bit of a tweak as far as like how we think about what we can help people accomplish. So that would be step number 1, identifying your dream outcome. Step number 2 is listing out all the problems that people might face when they want to achieve this desired outcome. You know, so writing down all the things that people struggle with in their limiting thoughts around them. When listing out these problems, think about what happens immediately before and after someone uses your product or service. Like what is the next thing that they need help with? These are going to be all of the problems that you are able to solve. And think about it in like insane detail. The more problems that you can come up with, the more solutions that you can provide for the person on the other side. And likely, you know, like as you go through like the coaching experience with these people, there's likely going to be more problems that arise, you know, so that's another reason why we want to go in insane detail when it comes to figuring out all of these problems or identifying all of the possible problems that one might have. And then obviously turning those into solutions, which would be number 3, like the overall solutions list. So first, we're going to first transform our problems into solutions. Second, we're going to name these solutions. So that's kind of like when it comes to like your presentation or like actually creating your offer, where you're able to like kind of like put a name behind you know, like what these problems actually are, you know, like what the solutions to these problems actually are. But I have an example here and that we'll go through in a second. But first, you know, like the main point here is the overall goal here is to turn everything that we can solve and bring that into a realistic solution that goes into the offer. So what we're doing is, you know, simply turning them into solutions by thinking, you know, what I need to show someone to solve this problem. You know, like what strategy can I show them? What, you know, like what can I provide to them? What value can I provide to them to get them from a problem standpoint to a solution? Then we're going to reverse each element of the obstacle into solution-oriented language, which, as Mike was going over, I think it was yesterday, which is pretty much like copywriting 101. But cool. So we'll move into this example here that I have. This is kind of based around like a relationship coach. And, you know, the dream outcome that the relationship coach would solve is, you know, an amazing, loving relationship in 90 days. Like that's quote unquote, like the desired outcome here. Now, problems, obviously there's a ton of problems that can go into, like why somebody can't, find themselves into a successful relationship. So just to list off like a handful of them, no good options, not attractive, not available, boring, no chemistry, poor communication, not hot enough, the sex isn't good enough, no intellectual stimulation, not enough effort into the relationship, no time, insecurities, the quote unquote needs aren't being met, for the other person, too many unmet expectations, acting crazy, like getting emotional. The relationship is dull. Two people want different things. Not good at relationships. That's one that I hear a lot from people is like, oh, I'm not good at a relationship. Too much pressure, moves too slow, fizzles out fast. Kids might be involved from the other person, whereas the person coming in that has never experienced kids, sexual incompatibilities, things like that. Like these are all problems that we could have as far as trying to, create like a successful relationship. Now going into solutions, like how can we turn those problems into solutions? How to get a list of prospective partners. Obviously you can see how that goes into no good options. How to be attracted to your chosen partner, not attractive. So it's turning all of these problems into actual solutions where you can take the solutions list and basically put it into your pitch or your offer. And then just to continue going through these, how to find all available partners, how to make sure relationship is exciting and never boring, how to create chemistry like you've never known, how to communicate in sexy, fun, meaningful ways, how to make the relationship hot by being hot. Like notice how all of these different things are almost like they're hitting at that desired outcome, but at the same time, they're taking the problems or the potential objections that the person might have on the other side and turning it into an actual key point as far as like why the offer is valuable. So based on like this little like document that I have created here, what I recommend each of you all doing is this exact kind of like formula, like the step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, identifying your dream outcome. Step 2, identifying all the problems that one might have when going to achieve that dream outcome. And then step 3, turning that into an overall like a solution list that can help you with your offer. So real quick, is there any questions based on this so far? All good?
All good. And I'll chime in on the importance of like the framework of usage with something like this is like, think about when you're on a sales call with a prospective buyer or somebody that's a good fit for your program, like think about how this handles the objections on the front end to the point where all the objections, all the things that they're thinking about that might get in the way of closing the deal, they're all being handled by how you're presenting your offer with those solutions, right? So the reason why this is important and the reason why it's going to increase your sales and your offer is the fact that when you get to this solution-based thinking and you start to, if you guys dive into the new material in the course, there's a 60-minute call script that's in there. And in part of that 60-minute call script, it shifts to you talking about your program. Now, imagine if you were this relationship coach and when you shifted into talking about your program, you listed this, right? Like, so in the next 90 days, I'm going to show you how to get a list of prospective buyers or partners. Sorry. I'm going to show you how to be attractive to your chosen partner. I'm going to show you how to find all available partners, right? So when you start listing these as part of your program and exactly what you're going to do over the course of the next 90 days, 30 days, however long your program is, now you're taking away every objection that they're thinking about or that has held them back from achieving a quality partner. It's all getting thrown out the window with this offer. So imagine going into a sales call and when someone presents their offer to you, they're taking away every single problem or every single pain point that you experience in the journey towards achieving the end goal. Like imagine that you hop on a sales call and you're thinking in your head the whole time you're having this conversation with this relationship coach, you're thinking in your head, well, I just can never find the right partner. They're never a good fit. The chemistry is never there. But then when they present the offer, they're telling you, hey, look, in the next 90 days, I'm going to show you how to get a list of prospective partners. I'm going to show you how to create chemistry like you've never known. Like if you started to present that offer, that person who the whole time throughout the call, they were thinking about all these problems and why they aren't having the right partner would get thrown out the window, right? And this is how you pre-frame and you set somebody up for a price drop. Because if you take away all the objections with that solutions list, and when you're listing out like what your program actually achieves, just like Mike said, like selling the vacation instead of the plane ticket, like when you show them that vacation is taking away everything that they've experienced previously that has held them back from that end goal, there's no reason for them to say no outside of two objections, which are the most common objections that will come up in any sales situation, is the money objection and the spouse objection, right? So the idea is that you want to set up the sale. You want to set up the closing part of the phone calls that you're having. You want to set it up to the point where those are the only two available objections. And then you handle those with that framework that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Agree with them, move back to pain, and then move back to close, right? So if you take away all these certain things that are holding people back from making the transformation with the offer, it becomes hard for them to think about why they shouldn't work with you, right? So that's why it's really important to have this sort of framework. Is when you're presenting your offer, you don't want to present it as, so here's what you're going to get. You're going to get, access to my course. You're going to get one-on-one calls. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. Like, you want to mention some of that stuff. If it comes up in the call, you want to mention what they're actually getting. But the real thing that you want to communicate to them is how you're going to get to that end goal, right? So telling them these different solutions is going to have them understand exactly what they're getting out of the program, what the vacation is, not the plane ticket. So you think about like one-on-one calls, courses, that's the plane ticket. But the vacation is having chemistry like you've never known. The vacation is finding a list of prospective buyers, right? Or partners, I mean. So that's why it's really important to do this structure, and why we definitely recommend you spend some time to list out a lot of the problems involved in your offer, objections that you've gotten, different things that people might be thinking, oh, like, I just have clinical anxiety. Like, I just have clinical depression, like those different types of things that people label themselves as. How do we frame that into something that's a solution, right? Maybe it's like how to, like with like clinical depression or anxiety or something like that. It's like how to rid yourself of anxiety that you felt has been like a medical label for you for years, something like that, like having that solution be directly geared towards what's holding people back in the decision-making process. But I just wanted to kind of elaborate on that point there.
Yeah, and just like Mike was saying, like the main like kind of point of this exercise is to put yourself into a position to where when you're speaking with somebody on the line, they don't have a reason to object. Like it's putting all of your objections into the presentation, into the offer. And if you think about this on like a fitness standpoint too, like a lot of the reasons people say that they can't be successful with fitness programs is relating to this same type of information, where it's like, oh, I don't know how to eat healthy. I don't know how to buy healthy foods, like I don't know how I'm going to be able to get my kids to eat this way. I don't know how I'm going to be able to go to the gym every day. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, these are all reasons why people think that they're not successful, or they're not already at that desired outcome, that dream goal. And that's exactly how we can shift it in this way. Like, for example, in that the fitness space, it's like, how do I show, or how to purchase the foods that are healthy, like how to get your kids to eat the same things you are, like all these different things are like pulling those objections and making it a part of the actual offer. But like I said, the main goal here, the main point of this is, well, it's really 2 points. Number one, it's to shift your focus from selling the actual plane ticket and focus on selling the vacation. That's like the biggest reason why I feel like people are not successful in the coaching space is, like people, if people knew they needed, fitness trainers or life coaches or relationship coaches, they would just do a simple Google search and they would find the next best one and they would hire them. But that's the thing, is people don't realize that they actually need somebody to help them through these things, because they have all of these, it's almost like stories, you know, they have all these stories in their head as to why they can't be successful doing this stuff. But it's based around the plane ticket, you know, it's based around what they assume the plane ticket is. They're not focused on the actual vacation. But yeah, so overall, just in pretty much any space, like this is going to be like the key to getting people to react positively based on your offer, your messaging, all of that type of stuff, you know, whether it's, you know, on the outreach side, all the way up to the, you know, closing the deal, closing the sale. And going back to like kind of like the original example, you know, like kind of like that microdosing, you know, example where it's like, you know, what do these things like actually help you with, you know, like what can a life coach or an MRES coach, you know, like what can these types of people actually get you to, you know, like what goal does one get out of, you know, being in line with this type of action? But cool. So anyways, that's pretty much what I had as far as like learning material today, presentation material today. Was there any like specific questions based on this type of content here, or what you should be doing to turn your problems into solutions? None? So I did a great job explaining? Or I did a terrible job and you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's one of the two.
I think you hit all the points, Mike. One question I had was, is this, so you were talking about this page in particular, is this something that's in the course, or is this something that you can send out?
It's not in the course. It's actually something that I just threw together about 15 minutes before we went live.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll make sure that you guys can access this. I'll drop it in the Telegram chat right now, and I'll also put the recording in here as I've done in the past too.
Solid. Thank you.
But this will give you a visual for it. Cool, there Perfect. It is. Cool. Other than that, any specific questions here? Oh, sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. No, this was super awesome. So other than like, you know, what the objections are that we're getting on sales calls, like how do we actually figure out all the problems that we want or that they might have that we need to address?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you can think about it as like a brick, you know, like a brick, you know, if you think about like what is a brick used for, you know, like it seems to be like there's one very clean solution as to what a brick could be used for, you know, like building a house, for example. But if you're not like focused on like what that brick's like dimensions are, or like what the speculations are of that brick, there's tons of different like use cases, you know, like it could be used as a paperweight, it could be used as a door stopper, it could be used as like a way to hold value if it's a gold brick, you know, it's a way to store like, you know, your capital type of thing. So like that's almost like kind of like the point of like trying to figure out all of the person's problems that they could be having on the other side. But you're exactly right. Like it might be situational to where like an objection comes up during a call and you're like, damn, I wasn't prepared for that one, but I'm going to take a mental note so I can go ahead and add it to my list and make sure it's in the presentation for the next time. You know what I mean? But I would like just like, I would put like a timer on your phone for like 10 minutes and just sit and think like, all right, what are all the potential problems that one might have with trying to achieve the desired outcome that I can help them with, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and Carrie, one thing I would add to that too, based off of our conversation yesterday, is thinking about those in like different areas of the offer, right? So like I know you mentioned yesterday that like a lot of what holds back the coaches that you have conversations with is kind of like imposter syndrome, like what makes me qualified to coach, right? Which like all of us experience at one point. So I would think about the different sections of like what beliefs hold people back, what business strategies hold people back, and like those two buckets, right? Like what beliefs hold them back, and then what business strategies hold them back. And then how can we put that into a framework that is solution based? So for instance, like being able to say, like, we're going to show you exactly how to get rid of imposter syndrome and step into the most powerful coach that you can be. Plus, we're going to show you how to build an effective offer that people can't say no to. And we're going to show you how to get rid of any limiting beliefs that are holding you back from being on camera and creating social media content, like those different frameworks. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And you can also like think about this as like, you know, obviously you have your dream outcome up here at the top, but also like your problems could be likelihood of achievement. You know, like they don't think that they're able to even like achieve this type of, you know, this type of dreamed outcome. Effort and sacrifice could be like another thing, where it's like, you know, what am I going to have to put in to get to that desired outcome? And then I think like another good one would be like time. Time is another big one, like removing any sort of like time delays, you know, like getting them to that desired outcome as soon as possible type of thing, you know? So like, I think like to capitalize even off of what Mike was saying about like the buckets, I would say like, you know, add in like a likelihood of achievement type of thing, effort and sacrifice, and then time. Like those three should help you like identify a lot of problems.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cool. Any other questions about this specifically? If not, any other questions in general?
Good to go.
Cool. Also, Christy, I saw you made it in here, so I'm very happy to see you here and good to meet you. I haven't officially communicated with you.
Hello, good to meet you too, Mike Puglisi. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
Yes, that is good. Yep.
Okay, good. Good to meet you, and hi everyone. I'm thrilled to be here, part of this wonderful tribe. This was a really wonderful topic to get introduced to. So thank you. Very thorough and very succinct and easily understandable.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, cool.
That might have been Mike's best training testimonial right there.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Well, I'm more than happy to hang around and answer any other questions, concerns, anything like that if you guys have any. If not, I'm also really happy to continue on with the Friday. But obviously, you know, I want to use up the time if it's needed.
Sounds like it was a home run training, my man.
Did a great job. Very thorough.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, with that being said, I think we'll shut it down. Oh, sorry, Roxanne, did you have something?
I just wanted to say thank you, Mike.
Perfect. No problem. Well, cool. I'll dump the recording in here as soon as it renders on my end. And the document's already in there. If you guys have anything that pops up over the weekend or as you go through this yourself, if you need help turning the solution or the problems into solutions and naming it, I'm more than happy to help you guys out with that. I think probably the best way to do that would just be clone that document that I dropped in there. Just run through like step 1, 2, and 3 right there. And if you want, just drop it over to me and Mike, and you know, we'll put our eyes on it, give any feedback that we feel is necessary. Even if you don't have any questions or concerns, we might be able to help you find out more problems or something like that. But cool. I hope you all have an amazing weekend, and I look forward to seeing this from you guys as well.